Hey y'all, welcome to Marcy in the Middle, a podcast about transitions and the middle of life. Here we talk about everything from relationships to finding your place in the world and lots more. We'll talk with friends from all walks of life and find out what they've learned along the way. So whether you feel young or old or somewhere in between, this is the place for you. Welcome to the middle. Today's guests are Shannon Blevins and Walker Sullivan. Walker broke his neck in a diving accident in 2017, and today they're going to share their perspectives on this life-changing event and how they've successfully navigated the challenges. I promise you will be both encouraged and inspired. Well, welcome to the podcast, Shannon and Walker.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marcy, for having us.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump right in. We are talking about, it's Marcy in the Middle, and we are just kind of sharing people's stories of things that they have encountered throughout their lives, whether it be a major victory or a major trauma or just real life everyday stuff. So Shannon, I'm just going to kind of pitch it to you and say, start us off and give us a little bit of backstory.
Okay, so Walker was 16 in September of 2017 and went with some friends and had a diving accident and broke his neck. So we jumped into spinal cord injury, and that's total change of life. It took us away from home for about 3 months and trying to learn the new way of living with a spinal cord injury.
Yeah, wow.
Yes.
So you had a significant change, not a pleasant one. And Walker, you were 16. Your life has drastically changed. Can you tell us just a little bit about the initial, right after the accident, kind of what you went through mentally and physically?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at first it's just like, I don't know, you're 16, you're bulletproof, so it's like, at first I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, no, don't worry, guys, I'll be up and good. I'll be up and good in like 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks, And then I slowly start figuring out how serious it is. And so at first it's just like, hey, man, we're going to get through this. This ain't forever, So that my mind isn't looking for that long term. So I'm just like, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to be back. Don't even worry about it. It's just a little setback. And finally, it was like right around the time that we got home, it hits me like, dang, man, this could probably be your new life right here. This could possibly be how it's going to be from here on out. And I remember just kind of realizing that on my own. Nobody ever told me that, but it's just kind of figuring it out on my own. And I was like, man, I don't know how I can do this. I don't even know if I can take this.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I went through a lot of hard times when I finally got to that realization. And I hated life. I hated everything. Blamed God for a lot of it. Man, and I tell you, kind of bringing me back now, but like I can remember just laying in my bed one night, just like, man, praying to God, telling him like, hey, if you got something for me, that's fine. Like, I get it. If this is what it's got to be, I get it. But if I can change it, please, And I remember nothing ever changed. So I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, man, I can't do this. I can't be in a wheelchair. How uncool,
Yeah, well, you're 16, so you're thinking lots of things.
Yeah, and so I'm like laying there. My situation never changed. Me just hoping it does. It never changed anything. And I remember coming to the realization like, hey, who cares, bro? Are you going to lay in this bed your whole life? You're just going to be confined to your room in a prison your whole life? Like, I've never been to jail or anything, but, like, I kind of feel how – I understand how it feels, So
yeah, you do.
It's like, is this what you're going to let yourself come down to be? All this stuff that you've put yourself through, all that training that you went through to even be okay at sports. Like, all the stuff that you've been through in your life, and you're just gonna let this little accident completely change that. And the answer now has been like, obviously it's no.
Right.
But then it was a little scary because it's like, man, I really don't know. It's pretty bad. It actually could change it. You know, it actually could change me. And then I remember.
Did something happen to kind of trigger the different mindset, or do you think your body and mind just kind of had time to process?
I think
what was happening
is my mind finally came to the realization is like, this is nothing. You've already been through the hard part. This is easy. You survived. That's the hard part. You know, you survived.
Yes.
You're obviously here for a reason, so why are you going to waste it?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to waste your opportunity? And I remember just like, man, just embracing it at that moment and like, whatever I got to do, I'm going to get out there and do it. You know, that don't mean that I didn't argue with them.
Right.
That don't mean I was like, hey, man, I don't really want to do this.
Right.
I promise you that happened every day. You can ask her and my dad.
Yeah, you had the built-in trainers, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think, man, being hard-headed as I was is what kind of pulled me through. But I see they can kind of laugh at it now because they was kind of like telling me I need to do this. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. And then one day I'm just like, hey, man, I think I need to do this. And they're like, yeah, man, I think you should. And I'm like, see, I know y'all want to be like, hey, we try to tell you this.
That's right. I told you so.
But, man, finally, I remember just coming to the realization to where, man, I can get in my chair by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can dress myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can bathe myself.
Yeah. Things most of us take for granted.
Yes.
That you had to really probably put some
And
work in on.
Yeah, and people in my situation, a lot of them can't.
Right.
A lot of them still need help. But, you know, I'm lucky and blessed enough that, hey, I can go out there and do this on my own. And I remember saying, I can do all this, so why sit here and take that for granted? I've already took this for granted once, so if I can do it now, why would I?
Yeah.
And, man, I remember the day that I finally was like, man, you know, I'm just going to live my life from here on out. I don't need to go to therapy no more. I'm just going to live my life. Honestly, that was like one of the most freeing days ever. Now, all the work that we put in at that gym is what led up to that. I mean, there's no
because
doubt
you
about
can't.
it.
Yeah, you literally had to retrain
Exactly.
and relearn how to do every single thing.
It's kind of like graduating high school. You know what I mean? It's like in the sense of I spent a lot of time down there, and everything they did was lead me up to, brother, you can live on your own now. You don't need us. You don't need to come down here. You can live on your own. You know how to take care of yourself.
Right.
And I remember that day, all of the time that I laid in that bed thinking, I'm never even going to reach that. I can't even get to that. If I could just get to that.
Right.
And then it came, and I was like, when I say a little boy in a candy store, like you have no idea that feeling, like that butterfly feeling. It's like when you meet the love of your life. You're like, oh, man. You know, every time you meet them, it's like you get that feeling.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, I can remember that. And then I asked him about that, honestly, the day that because it was just how it happened. Like, we was driving down there. It was really weird. We was just driving down, and I'm like, man, I'm not going back. This is my last day.
Huh.
And it was like, Mom was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't really think I need this anymore. I'm ready to just start living my life.
Yeah. So you finished at the gym.
Yeah.
They've got you set up pretty good, and you have obviously gutted it out and determined yourself. Do you still work out and do some different things at home?
I do. Mainly all I do is just get my standard. I try to do that an hour a day, 3 hours a day, if I can get it. But yeah, I do most of all my stretches and stuff in that. I still maintain myself. I mean, I'm not completely disacknowledging that, but at the same time, the reason that I decided that day, you know, like, hey, this is my last day, is because I don't want that to define me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be
Sure.
Walker in a wheelchair. I want to just be Walker. So I don't want that to define me. And I think that God's done a great point of that in Him keeping me in this, using me in this for a reason, but it's not defining me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
no. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure that a lot of people listening may know this, but you have a career as an insurance agent.
Yes.
And I know that you're an avid outdoorsman.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've seen a cute little girl on your Facebook, so I'm guessing that there might be some romance in your life.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you, if honestly, me and my dad was talking about this the other day. To say how blessed I am is really an understatement. Even after all that, I mean, just getting to the point I am where I'm at today, that's blessings. I mean,
yes. Well, you
uncomparable,
have put in a lot of work, and God has blessed you.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
To talk about, I'm telling you, the girl he sent me, and I'm sure she'll be listening to this, she'll probably have a big head after this, but it's okay.
That's right.
She deserves it. Putting up with me, I promise you. I can't even begin to explain how blessed I am with her. She is everything that I could ever imagine. She's patient with me, and man, she goes way above her means to help me. So I telling you, my blessings are crazy with her.
That is awesome. Well, that's a gift.
Honestly.
Okay, so I'm going to shift the conversation a tiny bit to your mom, because we have gotten your perspective, and you are an incredible person. I have known about you because we share some common friends, but I didn't really, today's the first time that we've met, and you are an inspiration, and I am impressed, and I can see, the Lord has good things for you ahead. So let's turn the conversation to your mama for just a minute. Okay, so Shannon, he's kind of shared from his point of view, and I cannot imagine it's hard for anybody to wrap their mind around this kind of just such an abrupt change to your lifestyle. And as a mom, that is a whole other thing, because we want to take all that on for ourselves from our kids, and we can't.
Right.
So, how did you survive?
Wow. Yes. It was a long journey. Like I said, it's been 5 years, almost 6 years. And it seems like yesterday in ways, but then it seems like, wow, we've came so far.
Yeah.
So definitely, the darkest probably times were right after the accident. Of course, your adrenaline's running, and as a parent, you are searching and on the computer and phone calls to just, how can I fix this?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're supposed to do.
Sure.
You know, we've got to fix this. And like I said, we were gone for 3 months from family and friends, and of course, people came. I mean, gosh, our community, Boswell, Durant, all of our people were major supportive.
That's good.
So, and family for sure. Our older son, Wyatt, was on the rodeo team at Southeastern, and he actually took a leave of absence for that fall semester of school to take care of things at the ranch while we were in the city with Walker. And, you know, he's another one. You know, it didn't just change our lives.
Sure.
It changed his life.
Yeah.
And Wyatt stepped up and
No, you're good.
you know, he loves his brother, and he's made sure that Walker does and gets everything. You know, they both love hunting, fishing,
Yes.
you know, sports.
Yes.
When we were in rehab at Bethany, Walker got a baseball bat from one of our good friends, and that was the first time, and it was just probably about 8 weeks after the accident. Wyatt said, "You're going to hit this ball." And they started playing baseball in the rehab room. But Wyatt's been a huge positive.
Sure. Well, everybody you can have on your team is good. How much older is Wyatt?
They're 4 years apart.
Okay.
4 years.
So just enough to be bossy.
Yes.
And drive you crazy.
Yes. Yes.
No, that's a good thing.
So, we came home and started going to the gym in Addison because that's all I knew from my research was hands-on activity-based therapy. And that gym support system, being around other caregivers, and it just helps you see and keep fighting and pushing, and like Walker said, he didn't want to do it. But he was so good at it, and he was excelling so much. And I think, like he said, once he thought, okay, I'm good, I can handle all of this, then it did take a little bit of pressure off us as the parents and Wyatt being the brother, because we saw him change mentally.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed.
Yeah.
To get this far. And bless his little hard head.
Yeah. It pays off in this kind of circumstance.
It definitely.
We talked about that earlier. You come into the world with an attitude and the can-do spirit.
Yes.
You need it.
Yes. So, we still have our support system with Able Faith. And we had our small group Zoom meeting last night, and they all just get so excited to see Walker because they're so proud.
Sure. Well, he's accomplishing major goals for an able-bodied person, not to mention the what you've had to overcome.
Right.
It is incredible, and that does spread hope and faith to other people.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So you mentioned Able Faith, and I did want the listeners to know that this is an organization in Texas, and you actually helped found it, and you guys play a big role in it. Will you tell everybody what it actually is, and if they wanted to be a part or help with that, maybe how they would go about doing that? Because there's not a lot of brain injury, spinal cord injury gyms, treatment centers in our area.
Right. So Oklahoma has one now in Bethany, and they actually worked out at the gym with us in Addison. And so when they went home to Bethany with their daughter, they opened a small gym there, which does hands-on activity-based therapy. We have some friends in Tulsa that are also from the gym in Addison that's trying to get a gym in that area. And then we've got the new one in Addison, which is by the Galleria. And it's more than a gym at Able Faith, which is what we were wanting, is to have a community and support system. So people can go there and work out. They can go there and socialize. We even have offices. We have tutors for school. So we're just trying to help a general population instead of the isolated.
Yes.
Just the hands-on activity-based therapy. But it's all in one house at that point.
Yeah, the community. I don't think you can overstate how important having a community with you that you contribute to, and then that you also receive from. And you mentioned it. Coming from a small town, we have that a lot. And, we all gripe about a small town because everybody knows your business and they tell your business. But when hard times come, they also show up and help with all kinds of things. And I know you guys have mentioned how much people stepped up, and then in the gym environment, how that plays a big factor in just your healing and your day-to-day life. So if you, looking back now, because you've got about 5 years in, so you've overcome kind of that initial trauma, and now you're living out you know, the day-to-day stuff that sometimes has to be a pain in the neck to deal with. But what would you tell somebody if you were and I'll pitch it to Walker first. If you were speaking to a 16-year-old kid who's had a similar injury, or even somebody that's just had some kind of circumstance in life that's really, you know, they may have lost a friend or a parent, or they have been diagnosed with an illness, or just had any kind of trauma that really affects them, what would your encouragement be to them?
See, I'm kind of tough when it comes to stuff like that.
That's
though.
okay.
But it's because I've been through it, so I know. You
Yeah.
know, I come from it in the sense of you got to do something. You can't lay here. You can't just do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get your attitude and mental to where you can say, I can do it. Even if you know you can't do it, say you can.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point?
Right.
How do you know if you don't try? So what I would tell somebody is just to never give up. Never stop believing you can't do something. You can always do it. You can always do it. Fail and keep trying. I
Yeah.
mean, that was constant. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I tried to put my shoes on, never got them on, had to have somebody help me until one day it worked.
Yeah.
You figure it out. You got to figure it out. That's the whole thing. When you get put in fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
always fight. Always fight. You're
Mhm.
never going to lose if you fight for what you want.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing to tell somebody would be never give up. Never say you can't, and keep fighting. Keep praying, and keep asking God to be with you. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the main thing. I promise you I couldn't do half of what I did today if it wasn't for God.
Mhm.
I mean, that's point blank right there.
Yeah. Well, his spirit is in you, and you can tell. There's no telling what you're going to accomplish. I'm going to try to stay out of your way. Shannon, what would you say to the parent of somebody who's in a situation, or just even if they're not a parent, just what would you
Yeah.
look back and say?
It's tough. It's a tough deal, and like Walker said, everybody's mental state is a little bit different at different times. But what I would tell, especially a parent with the child being in this situation, is number one, you've got to be their advocate, and you as the parent are going to fight
Mm-hmm.
for them to accomplish whatever it may be, you know. And the first few months, I mean, I would not hear to anything,
Yeah.
but he will walk.
Right.
And you have to just kind of work through all of that and feel like you have done everything you can. Not saying that I still don't
Right.
research and still do not pray for that.
Sure.
Because I
Sure.
do. But put your kid first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just you've just got to put them first and their needs, you know. And everybody will say, well, I don't know how you do it. Well, you don't have a choice, and you don't think that you can't do it, like Walker said.
Right.
You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get into your routine and, you know, feel what's right for them and for you and make it work,
Mm-hmm.
then it kind of gives you a little bit of peace
Mm-hmm.
to accomplish day-to-day things.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just tell those parents, just take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
Take a breath, sit back, let God guide you,
Mm-hmm.
because he will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those first several months, you're in such a turmoil
Yeah.
that you can't see or hear different things until you kind of relax
Yeah.
and settle down. And then it kind of all falls into place.
Yeah.
Whatever the injury or trauma might be.
Right.
You know, you have to give it that time.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems like you're in. I know it's really almost the grief process. It is.
Mhm.
You're grieving what you've lost and adjusting to a new normal, and your body and mind and spirit even, I think, have to process
Yes.
the change, and then
Yes.
to get you to the next level. And you kind of can't. Unfortunately, you can't skip ahead.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it takes a minute to
Right.
assess the situation and see kind of where you are. Well, you guys have definitely, man, you've lived. I know that you and I have had conversations, Shannon, about just trying to make sure that you're getting the right medical information and weed out what's not good and what the most current information is, and just keeping abreast of that, and then
Yes.
obviously getting plugged into the right rehab and the gym to follow, and then just surrounding yourself with like-minded people and community. And I have watched y'all from a distance be an advocate and contribute to other people around you, and I think that's probably the most inspiring thing, is that you've taken something that literally you could still just be laying in your bed, Walker.
That's right.
You could have just said, I'm done, and so could your mom and dad just have let it wreck your lives. But you picked yourselves up, even though some days are hard.
Right.
And we're not guaranteed that this life is going to be easy or smooth.
Right.
But you guys have it's phenomenal how you've encouraged other people and just dug in and really tried to pay it forward in a sense. So what are your kind of future aspirations? You've accomplished so much, Walker, that you
Yeah.
I don't know what you have left to do, but I know you do.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm thinking sitting here is like, it's not what I've been through, but it's what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Love
my whole
that.
thing right now is I love helping people. I like being there to help people. So I got into the insurance business. So now I work at State Farm in Antlers.
Y'all go by and buy a policy.
Yeah.
Or
come
two.
See me. Come see me. But, you know, and this is like what me and Cameron was talking about the other day. Everything that every human goes through, you look at it. When you're born, you're like a blank marble, blank canvas of marble. And the problems that you go through is the chisel, and it chips away at you. And at the end, your problems have turned you into a beautiful statue. So you can't get to where you're at without problems. So you always got to keep that in mind too. But, man, I tell you, yeah, working at State Farm, man, I can't say enough about them guys that I work with, Melissa and Cameron. Cameron, man, I found it's kind of weird how that all happened. So I was selling
Yes.
life insurance. I was selling life insurance for just at working at home.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in this situation, it's got to work out perfect. I
Sure.
still need help. I don't need help getting out of the car, but I need help for somebody to get my wheelchair to where I can get into it.
Sure.
So it all kind of worked out weirdly. I was selling just life insurance at the time, and I got a quote. I wanted to get a quote from State Farm. And so I got a quote, and then I was sitting there about to go work cows with my dad, and I had an interview for farmers that day. And I got a quote, but she called me. Her name's Melissa, and I love her to death. I'm telling you. She reminds me so much of my mom, so it's like perfect, really.
Exactly.
I couldn't have asked
Two
for
moms.
I couldn't have asked for a better coworker, honestly. But she called me and she said, "Hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. What'd you ever do with that?" And I said, you know, I'm currently trying to work for an insurance company, so I don't know if I'm going to get it yet because I want to get it. Well, who do I work for?" And she was like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm pretty sure I put in my resume for a job, applied for a job for you guys, but I never heard anything back." And she was like, "Okay, yeah, give me 5 minutes." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'm about to go work cows." I said, "But okay, I'll give you 5 minutes." And she calls me back and she said, "Cameron's about to call you. Can you talk?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm right in the middle of working cows, but I'll talk to him." And so he calls me and he said, "Hey man, you need to drop that farmer's thing like a wet sock." And I'm like, "Okay." "Okay, will do." And he was like, "I really want to meet you. When can we set up a time to come interview?" I said, "Tomorrow." "What about tomorrow?" "I can't do it today. We're working cows. I don't want to waste your time if I'm late." I said, "Because I can't be late." And he was like, "Okay, we'll do it tomorrow. What time?" I was like, 1:30. He was like, "All right." So I get there, and he's like, we get back there and talk. My interview lasted for 5 hours. So if that tells you how good it
I
went.
guess you hit it off.
Yeah. It lasted for 5 hours, and man, I can't say enough about that guy to tell you what he's done for me. Just giving me a job, really, and instilling his hope in me is another testament to everything, because how selfless of a dude to say, man, I'll help you, whatever. I don't care.
Well, I think he might have gotten the good end of the stick
Yeah.
in this deal.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he knew a salesman when he met him.
Yes.
but I mean, really, I can't even test enough. That dude, that's one of the best guys I know.
That's
For
great.
him to be able and be selfless enough to say, brother, I'll help you no matter what. I don't care. And then pay me. So it's like,
Right.
I'm getting like, okay, I got a best friend out of the deal and he's paying me. This is like the best thing, you know.
That's a win. And
Yeah.
that does not happen every day, Walker. So,
But-
so I'm glad it was a fit.
Man, I tell you, Melissa is another. That's my coworker. She has taught me so much. I couldn't be where I am right now in that without her. So I'm gonna tell you, they're both two of the best people I've met, and it's weird, but it's definitely where God wanted me to be.
Yes.
and
I
I
love
think,
it when he does that.
Yeah, it all worked out perfectly. It was definitely a God thing, and you know that's my main thing now. Is like I get to see people every day.
Yes. And you get to help people every day,
Yeah.
which you're very good at.
I get to see happy people, and I have people that are mad at me, all the time. So when they come in, they're mad at me. That's just another way for me to get
Another challenge.
Well, and it's another way for me to get to share
That's right.
myself.
That's the
you
truth.
know, because everybody has bad days, and
Mhm.
it's not all the time our fault, but sometimes we are the people that they take you down on, and that's
Mhm.
fine. That's why I'm here, because I get to help you,
Yeah.
and so.
Well, you are definitely an encouragement, and I love to see you out there killing it. What I think we've covered a lot of things. Is there anything else, Shannon, that you would say to anybody listening, or just that you want to share? Anything you've learned, advice to give, or just any thoughts?
Definitely come to State Farm.
I would just like to say, we all have a picture and a roadmap of our life and our kids' lives and stuff like that. It's not concrete, and it doesn't matter if there's a detour.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to work out in the end, and be thankful for every day with your people and your life.
Yeah, just all of the small things that we take for granted.
Yes.
And we are blessed, as Walker has said and as you have said. And just thank y'all so much for sharing your story. And it has brightened my day. And like I said, it's very inspiring and good to hear from people who have overcome something and who literally every day continue to overcome, because life is hard. I think you said that earlier, Walker. And no matter what the particular circumstances are, don't give up. I love that. Don't quit. That's the only way you can not succeed is to quit. Well, I think that wraps up our interview for today. Again, to our listeners, go check out Able Faith. It is located, like Shannon said, Addison, Texas, and follow. I'm pretty sure you can follow Walker on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
You're on the socials,
I am.
like all good 21-year-olds.
I am, and if you want to come meet me in person, Antlers, Oklahoma State
Antlers,
Farm.
Oklahoma State Farm. That is right. I'm going to just throw this pitch out here. They did not ask me to do this, but there, I believe, is Wyatt getting married this summer? Is that accurate?
Getting married on June 14th.
All right. And baby brother's going to be in the wedding?
Yes.
Is that right? There is a piece of equipment that is extremely useful. And it's kind of like, I'll just call it a stand-up wheelchair. It just allows you to be in standing upright and still travel around and kind of do things outside. If you, we would love to see Walker be able to have one of these. And as I said, He is not asking for this, but I'll just pitch this out here. If you would like to contribute to that, you private message me, and we will get that to where it needs to go. Again, thank y'all so much for all you do, for brightening this corner of the internet today, and for southeastern Oklahoma the rest of the time. And I look forward to seeing what the Lord does in you and through you.
Well, hopefully you'll see me on a billboard up here saying like a good neighbor, State Farm's there.
Okay, there you go. I'll be looking for you. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, and hit subscribe to keep up with all future episodes. We'd also love for you to leave us a 5-star review. That wraps it up for today's Marcy in the Middle. And remember, whatever you're in the middle of, you're not alone. We'll see you next time.